I'm going again. I got to try it again. It's got to work. I think it can. I'm like a IT detective over here. Dang it. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. Either way, the emojis work. Back. Thing should work. We're live. It's going. Nobody's watching with me, but I don't care. I think it's working, and I'm excited. Live now? No. I was so close. I think it's working. I just can't see the channel. It's so close. I'm going to get this thing. I know it. I know it. Live dashboard. We're doing it. The 5 of us. Like a little living room. Yes. Good to go. Jamie Jones. Thank you. Finally. We're back. Now let's do it. What do we got to talk about? What I was going to talk about 10 minutes ago was that I was fired up. Best week ever for the QB school. All right. Y'all still got me out there? Let me know. Make sure I'm talking to myself like free hour of therapy. Says nobody's watching on my end. Oh, yeah, with Germany in the house. I'm good. Thank you. Brian, appreciate it. Whew. That was what a fiasco. God, that's embarrassing. At least I didn't do it live. All right. So keep the questions coming. I'll do my best to get there, James. I see them. But what I really wanted to do was just get on here, say thank you. Best YouTube week ever for the QB school. Had like 120 views in the last 48 hours, 200,000 views in the last week. So pretty crazy. Lots of fun. Fired up. We got the whole world checking in. I appreciate it. Check in. Let me know where you're coming in from. Got New Zealand, Kentucky. What part of Germany, Hanno? Just fired up, man. It's fun to see people engaging with it. Last year, the week after the Super Bowl was definitely the biggest week. And so it's fun to see kind of resonate with this community. You know, you're starving for a little bit of ball. And it's just fun to kind of to be able to get in with people who love it and enjoy this kind of content. So I'm having fun with it. Let me see, James Taylor. What do you think about Shanahan's play calling during the Super Bowl, end of half, and when trailing? I thought it was terrible at the end of half. I still, mind-boggling to lose a possession to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's the way that I think about it. I always just think about it from the number of possessions. So if you only get 12 possessions in a game, let's say, and you all of a sudden don't want to take the one of them right before half, you're basically saying you can win a game with one less possession. So it's just not how I believe in playing football. And, you know, if it would have worked, it would have been great. I think that the Chiefs had a lot of things go their way, but they had the best player on the planet and really probably the 2 best players on the field that day. I still think the 49ers are a very good team. I'm still pretty high on Jimmy Garoppolo. I know a lot of people are, you know, rightfully so critiquing that fourth quarter performance for sure. But for me, you know, he outplayed Mahomes for 3+ quarters. You know, was it perfect? No. But, you know, it never is. And so I think he missed some throws that will define his career up until this moment, but I think that they've got a shot to still be pretty good moving forward. We'll see what they do, you know, moving forward with the Jimmy Garoppolo standpoint, and as far as money, contract, exactly where they're at. I've heard different stories about where they're at contractually, so we'll see. Yo, Roy. I like the yo. Appreciate it. Love seeing the QB logo on there. I actually call the QB school logo now. We call it logo is a play 2x2 vertical. So pretty cool. It's a big old football from Sam. Is that the emoji for football? That thing is massive. Distracting me. You know what I have to say about that? I think my emojis are too small. Can't really tell what they say. No, I'm not excited for the XFL. Yes, I'll probably watch it if it's on. I'm sure the first week they'll have it on at some good times with some good teams. I want to say, God, what is the dude's name? Luis Perez is a quarterback in one of the teams. Whoa, Tony. Oh, my goodness, bro. I appreciate it. Super sticker for sure. That's amazing. I appreciate it. Hey, JT, greetings from Poland. Your videos help me and help me learn how to be a better QB. How was your playing experience in Green Bay? Bro, Tony, I appreciate it. I don't know what the conversion is for what that is, but I appreciate the support. My experience with Green Bay was a whirlwind. I got traded up there about a quarter of the way through the season. Get to play with one of your childhood idols, or one of my childhood idols, and Brett Favre. But it was a bummer playing wise because I went essentially from the 2. I wasn't necessarily listed as the backup in New Orleans that year because the other quarterback, Todd Bowman, was the holder. So he got to technically be the 2, but if something were to happen to the starter, I was going to get a chance to play the next week. And so I was basically the backup down there and went from being the backup to then being the 4th string guy in Green Bay. And really it was just and when you get traded, it's not always appreciate that, Roy. It's not always the coaches that trade for you. So my quarterback coach at the time was Bevel, and the head coach was Sherman, calling the plays at that point, or he'd just taken over. And so they didn't necessarily trade for me. The personnel people, John Schneider, who's now at the Seahawks, he traded for me. So I went from being the 2 in New Orleans to the 4 in Green Bay. And luckily, Doug Peterson got hurt, now the head coach for the Eagles. He got hurt the week before, and so they put him on IR, or else who knows what we would have done as far as having so many quarterbacks on the roster. But it was still a blast for me. That, in my opinion, is the best place to play in the league as far as the game day environment. The stadium's in the middle of a neighborhood. People are parking on front yards, and it's really cool. It's like a college environment, bleacher seats, some parts. And so it was fascinating for me on many levels. And, it's one of those things where you got to be careful about looking up to your childhood idols. You get a chance to spend time with them all the time. It's not that Brett Favre wasn't a good dude when I was there. It's just, there's nowhere to go but down when you put someone on a pedestal. So it was fun to see him practice. He practiced hard. He threw the rock. He did a lot of things right, but he wasn't probably as invested in the meetings and the X's and O's as I was at that point in my career. And so, but still, great time. I had a blast. All right, what else we got here? Again, I just wanted to get on here and kind of have a conversation with y'all and just say thanks. I appreciate the support this week. 200,000 views in a week. Just kind of popped the top off this channel, and looking forward to seeing what happens next. I'm also still have a couple Super Bowl videos lined up in the pipeline. In fact, I gave all the members that are at, I don't know, whatever the second level is, I think it's Pro Bowl, get a chance to see the video that's going to go up next week on Monday. I'm fired up about that. It was kind of crazy for me to make that video. Just watching it for the Patreon community, I was like, that's a good idea for a video. Threw it together this morning. I think y'all will really enjoy it. I love seeing kind of the copycat element of the NFL. And, everybody thinks Andy Reid is such a great play caller, Eric Bieniemy, to combo with what they do for Kansas City. Well, in really one of the most important plays of that game, when they had to have it, what'd they do? They copycatted. A massive copycat. And so I think y'all will love that video. I'm fired up for it to go live. I think it'll be fun to see. I think people, it's one of those full-on nerd videos where you can only do that. Can only find that stuff in the All-22. And so it's fun for me. I can't speak a foreign language, although I did meet my wife, Tommy Boy, in Espanol Trace. I appreciate the support for the channel. Jesse Sullivan, so close on the last name. Hey, JT, when the quarterback hands the ball off to the running back, do they carry out fake passes or throw the defender off? It depends on the offense. Quarterback coaches make different quarterbacks do different things. There's no one kind of set rule as far as what you got to do to kind of on those play action fakes. I personally, I always look to see if a quarterback has their offhand on their stomach when they're handing the ball off, especially from the pocket. Most guys don't. And so that's a good indicator of someone who's been coached really well, I think. And so one of those nuanced details that I know quarterback coaches look at to see how well someone's been coached. I know. I appreciate the nerds out there. It's a combination of book, football, nerd, a little science, good stuff. Jet D with the emojis. I love it, bro. Right here. I think I need to make them bigger, though. I feel like they're not big enough. I think I got to get a second mic in here. It's kind of hard to have a conversation with yourself, but I appreciate y'all giving me some good questions. I love Lamar Jackson. No, Lamar Jackson is going to be a beast in this league for a long time. There's people who think, the league is evolving, and I think some people still think that, quarterbacks are going to get hurt, and they're so afraid of the quarterback, and that's a risk for everybody. But the way that the rules have evolved have allowed quarterbacks to be a little bit more aggressive with their feet, and I think you can mix that in with concepts and play calling. No thoughts on Joe Judge. Would you ever return to the NFL as a QB coach, given your extensive knowledge of the positions? Chino Hills. I don't ever want to say never, but we live in San Diego, and I'm not leaving San Diego forever. So unless there's a return to the league down here, probably, and to be honest with you, probably not. I have no desire to do that lifestyle. I do think it's fun. It's amazing to compete at the highest level. It absolutely is. Intellectually, it's fun, but lifestyle-wise, family-wise, it's just not my bag. So I've been there, done that. Fortunate was able to do it in my 20s when I could move around. Didn't care about moving. Brazil, appreciate it. I don't have an NFL team nowadays, for people who, I know it's kind of weird, and it's kind of a bummer, honestly, to go from being a fan, because I was a fan playing, and I'm still a fan. You can be a fan of good ball. I feel a little bit like Rob Lowe, just rock the NFL hat. I actually used to have that hat. I got a white NFL hat, I want to say in junior high, and I loved it. Didn't realize it was kind of not the coolest thing in the world. What else we got? The other thing I wanted to talk about with this group, because I know y'all are some of my diehards, and I appreciate it, is I think I've gotten in with some college film. And so there's going to be some draft analysis, especially for the quarterbacks. The hardest thing has been trying to get quality film, especially all 22, and not just like stock, stuff you can rip off on YouTube or ESPN, and more kind of like where the actual high quality HD all 22 film is. And I think I found a way that I can get it. I'm going to be pretty excited about that. So I'll be sprinkling that stuff out as we get closer and closer. Appreciate it. KCJ, nice. Love the stickers. Fun to see the support. I really appreciate the support for the channel. I have a lot of fun with this. I hope it comes across like that. I mean, I want it to be somewhat professional and a representation of some high quality film, and not hurt your eyes or audio when you listen to it. So I apologize about the echo, but I like the fact that people enjoy the content. It's fun for me. It's basically what I try to say all the time is it's what I wish existed when I was growing up. An opportunity to ask questions, to learn kind of the hidden secrets, if they are hidden secrets, kind of look behind the curtain. So fun with that stuff. Roy, college film is exciting. I know, I'm fired up. I really am fired up about the college film stuff. Now, I don't think it's a full library of everyone, but it's a decently comprehensive library. And so I'm pretty fired up to be able to dive into it. And it won't be just, it will be focused on the quarterbacks coming out, but it will also focus a little bit on college scheme. I love college scheme. I think it is a little bit different. It's a little bit ahead of the curve as far as what the league does, although the league is starting to catch up to it, I think, a little bit as far with their spread game and their quarterback runs. But I'm fired up. I like, not wasted time, but I dug deep into some college film the other day and was like, oh, I think this is good enough that we can use on the channel. So it'll be fun. Longest play call I've ever received. Tommy boy, you got to stop yelling, bro. It's long. It's like 12 or 13 words, but I mean, it all runs together at some point. It's funny now, coaching high school, we almost do all one-word plays. And so kind of the antithesis of that. And so I like things that categorize and are easy to communicate, and we want to play fast. So it's kind of the opposite of the old kind of tell every single person what they do in the huddle type of vibe. Oh man, the old Jameis Winston question. I don't know, Brock. I mean, do you think that they're going to win a championship in Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston? If not, it's probably a time to move on. That's just it's a cold business when it comes to that regard. Not that he couldn't go somewhere else and have a fresh start, but I don't know. I think at some point, you get a certain body of work. I've heard it different things from 3 years to 6 years, but at some point you're just not a Super Bowl, kind of on the trajectory to be a Super Bowl quarterback. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. What else we got? How come tea is cold, man. That dang audio. Winston will be the Super Bowl champion at 55. All right, I'll bet, Brian. Bet. What do you want to bet? I'll bet you 100 push-ups. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I did a video, I want to say last year after the playoffs on Lamar Jackson, and I thought he had significant. Oh, hey, appreciate it, Jesse. What is that, pounds? Love it. It is fun to see the international vibe. I know some like diehards Americans over here think that this should be like an in-depth kind of coaches thing, and I think that those channels are great and they exist, but I love the fact that it broadens the audience to kind of American football on the global stage, because I do think coming from someone who tries to understand soccer on a global stage a little bit, like you're just limited in the States to knowledge about the game and how to find good content. So I appreciate that this kind of has like an international flavor to it to a certain regard. And I try to do these live streams. I know it's not always the best for people in the States to rock middle of the day, but it works for me. And I have 3 kids rocking in here all the time, although they would probably love it. So I really appreciate the international flavor of this thing. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Jameis Winston. Sammy Watkins, is he a free agent this year? I don't know. I didn't know that. I mean, they're loaded on the perimeter. They really are. It's like watching a track team come out. I feel like they're like a 4x1 relay team. It's crazy the speed that they have, and really they're tough too. It's one of those things. Sometimes I feel like some track type guys get the reputation for being a little soft playing on the perimeter in the NFL, but those Chief guys get after it. I mean, they're fun to watch. I do get a kick out of them. Oh, that's a good question, Chaos. Do you believe in system quarterbacks? So we get this a lot, and the answer, unfortunately, like many answers, is it depends, right? Like some quarterbacks could be great in any system, and then some quarterbacks flourish, or all quarterbacks flourish in certain systems. So like, for instance, and I'm sure there might be an air raid guy or two in this chat right now, but most quarterbacks are going to flourish in an air raid type system, at least if you're talking about stats. Maybe not wins, but there are definitely elements of system friendly. I try to make my system that we teach in our high school in San Diego as quarterback friendly as possible. Now that doesn't mean I can go out there and throw it for them. I can't, but I can call plays and put them in a situation where they should be able to throw to hopefully wide open type receivers, or at least uncontested throws. And so yes, there are definitely system quarterbacks, but I think when you get to the highest level, like you're talking top tier NFL guys, they'd be successful in any system. I think the argument, especially this offseason, will be with Brady. What up, Mario? There you go. Air raid, you certified? The air raid, but the system quarterback thing is going to come this year, especially if Tom Brady doesn't sign back with the Patriots, because then it's going to be this opportunity for Belichick to go out, get someone else, and see if they can win and play at that level, and see if it is the system. And it's probably, in all honesty, my opinion, is probably a combination of both. Like anything, you can't necessarily say it's 50-50 one way or the other. I think it sure helps to be in a quarterback system that is friendly to the quarterback. What I mean by that is you're not running it first, second, third medium, and only throwing it on third and long and saying, like, help us out, go get us. You don't get any sort of rhythm. And so I think that there are ways, and it kind of shows a little bit. An example would be, just not necessarily the players, but this past Super Bowl, the Chiefs are built to go full throttle, gas pedal. So being down 10 doesn't change what they do offensively. They're always trying to score. They're always trying to quick strike. Where Kansas City or San Francisco is built on running the ball, play action. So when you're down all of a sudden and you got to have a 2-minute drive, you're not built for that. So that's the idea to me of, is the system match the technical talent ability of the skill guys? Now, that's just one example, but I like to think that I always build it or deconstruct an offense or construct an offense with the idea of we want to be able to go as fast as humanly possible and be as efficient as possible, because that's how we think we're going to win games. You're going to be in tight games. You don't want to have to all of a sudden not be yourself. And I think that's always the detriment for me when I think of, we're just going to run the power, we're going to run the rock, we're never going to take, we're going to play action people. Well, that's great when you're in the lead. But when you're down, and that's another thing with like Lamar Jackson, they're in the lead all year. It's a little different playing quarterback when you're down. The Chiefs were down every playoff game. Doesn't matter. They go out and get it because they just do they are who they are. That's what I love. I love the fact that the system works in any situation, not the other way around. So, what's my favorite type of throw? I don't know. What's touchdown throws? What other kind of throws are there? Man, how come I can't get an emoji to work? Hmm. Raul, Aaron Rodgers mechanics. No, Tony, Aaron Rodgers mechanics. Uh, I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to work on much. I think he's kind of an anomaly, similar to Patrick Mahomes, as far as like, uh, they're just so good throwing off platform, meaning unbalanced, that they don't really have to, be balanced technically all the time. And I just think most guys do have to be balanced all the time to be consistently good. There you go. Appreciate it, Jet D. For some reason, my thing is locked, and I'm not going to worry about the keyboard. I don't care. Got the audio to work. That's the most important thing. I do like it, though. They're actually pretty easy to create. If you guys have ideas for other emojis that you actually would like to see, especially if you're a member, I will make them because I'm running out of ideas. Let me know. Aaron Rodgers technically spins it, upper body mechanics, better than anybody who's probably ever done it. He gets away with being off balance. I don't think he gets away with it quite as much as he used to, if you go back and look at some of his misses this year. And so, but I mean, it's pretty hard to have a conversation with a guy who's been doing it for almost 15 years or whatever and say, hey, we're going to deconstruct and build you back up a different way to throw from your base. When you'd be like, yo, dude, 2 middle fingers. Like, I'm good. Thanks. Keep your opinions to yourself. That type of thing. That's just the reality of it. Now, I know the best players want to be coached hard, all those things. And, like Tom Brady goes to a throwing guy every offseason, those type of things. Well, I'm not sure Aaron is that type of guy. Similar to Pat Mahomes. I don't know if you'd ask Patrick Mahomes to change anything. He's just got the ability to get away with that type of stuff and is so consistently good at it. I mean, it's kind of unnerving. Maybe a touchdown emoji. That's a good idea, Kevin. I wonder how you would do that. I like it. Lamar needs to get better at pre-snap recognition. I mean, everybody needs to get better at pre-snap recognition. Even guys who've been doing it, Peyton, Tom, those guys, they all can get better at pre-snap recognition. It's one thing. That's the thing that I think, especially as someone who does this type of stuff, right? Like quarterback school, we're watching film. The difference between playing and watching film, so you can use film to get better as a player, but you play at eye level, right? So what I mean by that is, it's one thing to get good at the bird's eye view, being able to see shell, see the coverage. People who watch this channel now feel like they've got like the lexicon to be able to play quarterback better, seeing like, oh, it's man, it's open, middle field closed. But that's great when you're in the press box. But now we're on the field, right? Now we're 6 feet, let's say, and every lineman in front of us is 6'5". Well, now I need to see the shell. I need to see movement. I need to see all my recognition from eye level. And so that's a thing where, I think VR is going to come more and more into quarterback training if it already isn't. Different ways to get better at the center, underneath the center. And really, it's two things. It's not only pre-snap, it's post-snap confirmation. So that's really it's kind of not easy. It's easier to see pre-snap stuff, right? Even if you're under center, where like everybody's down, things aren't moving. It's it's middle field open. Take the snap. Now they rocker, middle field closed. Okay, now what do I do? And you have to do that all by being able to make a decision and keep the ball on timing and be accurate. All those things, your mechanics have to be so sound. It's the post-snap recognition or change of plan that I think is kind of separates a lot of quarterbacks, because when you have play callers who are great, and there are some great play callers in the league right now, they can scheme you all open many times, 75% of the time, give you a good play. But what are you going to do with the 25% of the time when it's not a good play? How are you going to protect them? How are you going to be able to adjust? Maybe you don't have to change the play at the line of scrimmage, but you have to go from middle field open, you're going to go to the right, middle field closed, you're going to go to the left. Those type of things, which sounds really simple until you're on an NFL field and everybody's faster than you, and you got to make good decisions all the time, every snap. So that's my vibe with all those guys. What's VAR in the Preem? Is that the Premier League? I haven't seen it if it exists. Deuce right, jam, scat right, 525 H post swing. There you go. Look at that. H post. Where'd you get that, Chaos? That might be actually from one of my videos. Jordan, what's some good drills to help quarterbacks develop arm strength? I mean, I'm a big believer. Again, people who watch this channel know that it's a combination of things for me, right? It's two different things. You throw from the ground up, meaning your base, your core, at the ground up, and then you have this, so ground force and then rotational force. And so you got to maximize your throwing mechanics. I haven't talked a lot about throwing mechanics on this channel because it's pretty in-depth and nuanced and detailed. I'm sure at some point in the off season I want to do that. In fact, I kind of want to get out on a field to do it. There are things absolutely you can do from there, but it's technical now. We're going to get into the weeds here as far as those type of things. There's not like one drill where I can say like, hey, go throw heavy balls or something like that, or like bench more or squat more. Like all those things will help, but unless that's really one of those things where, and I know that's kind of a bummer answer, a shallow answer, but like unless you have someone who knows it, who can coach you up and to get you going on the absolute technical minutia of the throwing mechanics, and really hopefully they know what the hell they're talking about, because many of those people, in my opinion, the guru world, don't know what they're talking about, or they might think they know what they're talking about but don't, and those are the most dangerous people. I'll be the first to tell you, everybody can throw differently. Everybody's body's a little bit different. I do think that there are some core principles that overlay all throwing mechanics at the highest level. The other thing is throwing a football is tough, right? Like the guys we watch on Sunday and most of the guys on Saturday, those are grown-ass men. Like you're strong people. When you're growing up, you don't necessarily have the same strength. So you have to cut the ball, you got to push it a little bit. You got to Phillip Rivers it a little bit. So it's like one of those things where as you get stronger, your mechanics can change, and that makes it even harder, right? So it's a combination of all those things. I love the fact that we got this thing going. We got 167 people in here. I got about 4 minutes left. Preschool pickup duty. Pretty excited about that. I actually get a kick out of it a lot. Are there any QB workouts that you've done and thought it was pointless? Yeah, absolutely. Chaos. I love every time I pop up, I see your questions. Happy dads. Appreciate the support. I don't know if the XFL is going to succeed. I really don't, Noah. Like, I think, you'd be silly to think that it would based on the evidence of the past. It's just so hard to get a sustainable league going. And I'm someone who basically thrived, got a second half of my career based on the NFL Europe. So I hope it does, especially for the quarterbacks. I know that skill guys get bounce backs too, but the quarterbacks, there just aren't enough reps in camp or in, training camp for you to get better quickly. And that's really what I got in the NFL Europe. And I hope it kind of trampolines a few of those guys. Super Bowl favorite next season? I mean, come on, Deuce. You know who it is. It's the Chiefs. For sure. Get out of here with that. Oh, goodness. All right, y'all. Let me just say again, I appreciate the support. Best week ever for the quarterback school. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully y'all enjoy the content. I think next week for the Patreon community, I'll probably do the 49ers every play on the Super Bowl, do a handful more Super Bowl kind of type videos. I think y'all are going to really like Monday's video. I had fun doing it today, and just keep cranking out the content. If you have ideas, let me know. Other than that, thank you again. All sorts of fun, and let's rock this off season. All right, thanks.